Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was on PFT doing an interview there, and he said that he's talked to Justin Jefferson and his agent about a future contract. What would you say to them about their future, the agent and Justin Jefferson, to try to get Justin Jefferson to stay?
I think, to be honest, like we see this in most sports, when you, after your rookie deal, you just kind of throw all the cash on the table and say, this is yours if you sign right here. So I think just that alone, like telling him, trying to lock him up early and saying, this is how much money you can make. I think that's a big point, because if I'm trying to make a roster argument, it's a little bit in limbo. I mean, he has a good quarterback, at least, that's going to get him stats and he's going to get him close to records, but Vikings haven't committed long-term to Kirk Cousins, and I'm not sure it's wise, if they want to win, to commit to him super long-term. The other kind of pieces around him, by the time he's coming up for a new contract, like Thielen's going to be a couple years older. That's going to not be as consistent. Dalvin Cook's going to be a couple years older at the end of his deal. From an offensive perspective, the roster personnel isn't great, so I think you have to sell him, one, on just a bucket load of cash. You probably have to Griddy for him. You got to pitch him on Kevin O'Connell. Like, Kevin O'Connell has to be good, and you have to say, he's coming from this Rams system. Look what they've done. So I think you have to sell him on the coaching staff being better, and hopefully kind of a long-term view. You have to have that mapped out. But I mean, the most persuasive argument is just going to be showing him all the money, I think. Do you have any other like compelling, serious arguments for why you would convince him to stay?
I think I would say to Justin Jefferson, here's two ways you can look at this. We know that you're going to get the money. You're going to get the money from anyone. But will you get decision-making power from anyone? You know how LeBron James gets to fire coaches and trade for his friends and everything else? You can have, in writing, decision-making power, not as in you make all the decisions, but as in you are in the meetings when we make the decisions. And Justin Jefferson, if he was a really good receiver but was kind of a dope, I wouldn't even bring it up. He's not kind of a dope. He's a smart guy. So I think that that's, even though it would be sort of unprecedented, is not a crazy thing to say. In the world of athlete empowerment, you, sir, are the most empowered. And then on the flip side, look, my friend, I know that in this world, if somebody wants out of a place, they can get out. We're not letting you out. Like, we will play the hardest of hardest ball because you're not going anywhere. Now, that's not a great model, but you could say, look, I mean, it's not an easy thing to just get yourself out of here